It gives me great pride to be here today to welcome you, the class of 2024, and transfers and your families to Carleton College. My name is Art Rodriguez, and I'm the Vice President and Dean of Admissions and Financial Aid. Members of the class of 2024, congratulations on making it to Northfield and Carleton in person or remotely to start your college career. For the transfer students joining Carleton, congratulations on finding a new college and a place to call home for the remainder of your undergraduate experience. The next few days and weeks will be an unusual start to the academic year. However, your new beginning at Carleton will always remain a moment you remember. I speak from experience, as 28 years ago I was fortunate enough to be in the same seat as you. I came to Carleton in 1992 as a first-year student from Southern California. Back then, as I anxiously thought about my impending move to Northfield, I worried about several things. First, there was my future and trying to figure out who I would be and what I was hoping to accomplish. Then there was my family. I was going to miss them deeply, but being the first in my family to go to college, I knew the pressure was on to not disappoint. I had a lot of questions about my new roommate. Were we going to get along? Would we have much in common? Would he be a friend? Prior to Carleton, I did not know anyone from Wisconsin. What I was most unsure about, though, was whether I was ready for Carleton. I got in, and everyone kept on telling me I was admitted because of my academic successes in high school. But when I sat where you are today and heard the dean rattle off all the amazing academic and personal accomplishments and experiences my new classmates brought to Carleton, which I'll also do in a few moments, I slumped in my seat and wondered, did the admissions committee get it right? Let me share with you my background. I worked extremely hard in high school, just like all of you, and I did my very best to shine. However, as I already shared, I was the first person in my family to go to college of any kind and from extremely limited means. My family was poor. In fact, on my very first day of orientation at Carleton, I arrived having taken the bus from the airport without any family in tow and 2 suitcases in hand. I share this backstory with you simply to say, today is not a day for anyone to find themselves slumped in their seat. Take it from me, the dean who signed your offer of admission and admitted you to Carleton. Each one of you made it to where you are today because you demonstrated an intense interest in learning, motivated yourself to go the extra mile, and did so by committing yourself to being your very, very best. That's what impressed the admissions committee, and that is why I know you should be here today. Amidst an overly ambitious schedule in high school, cramming in schoolwork, extracurricular activities, a social life, and family, your accomplishments have led all of you to this wonderful place together. And an accomplished group you are. Let me share more. First-year students were selected from a pool of 6,892 applicants, of which 21% were offered admission, and 454 of you make up the class of 2024. Transfer students had it slightly more challenging, with 12% of students being admitted from a pool of 219 applications. You come from 45 states, the District of Columbia, and 20 countries. 8% of the class are international citizens. You're also multilingual and speak 55 different languages at home. 11 of you we met through the Posse program, and 40 of you have an affiliation through the partnership with Questbridge. 26 of you participated in a Carleton summer program, with 8 being part of the Carleton Liberal Arts Experience, CLAY for short, as rising sophomores in high school. 13% are the first in your family to attend college, and 38% of you self-identify as Black, Indigenous, or as a person of color. There are 374 different high schools represented in the class. 69% of you graduated in the top 10% of your high school senior class, and 16% graduated as valedictorians. And as to extracurricular activities, 85% of you were involved in community service, 61% were varsity athletes, 49% of you had a paid job, 44% of you were involved in music, 38% engaged in STEM activities, 25% participated in student government, 24% of you had an internship, 17% participated in speech or debate, and 16% were involved in theater and dance. As I shared earlier, what an accomplished group. The 6 most common names in the first-year class are Grace, Hannah, Isabella, Aiden, Alexander, and John. The most common birth date for the first year class is December 31st, a date which 7 of you share. And for those of you who share your new student week group with Sophie Colalio, be sure to wish her a happy birthday tomorrow. Now, I can go on and share amazing stories about each and every one of you, but I think you get it. You are all an exceptional members of a remarkable class. Let me finish by offering one final thought. This spring, summer, and even now, as we start a new academic year, have been challenging for all of us. Between a pandemic, which essentially crippled the globe and shaped the new normal we are all living through today, and the racial injustice perpetrated on the Black community resulting in the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery, we find ourselves pulled together in one place, safe and well, ready to be a community for each other. Even as you start at Carleton with the ills of the world as a backdrop to your experience, I truly hope that today will also mark the beginning of an incredibly new, positive moment in your life. You chose Carleton because you wanted to be a part of a special and small community. However, living in a community is a shared experience. This requires a willingness to listen, the ability to grow from our missteps, respect of our differences, and learning to lean on each other to be the best we can be. This is what makes Carleton exceptional. I know the world-class education you will receive will propel you to be part of the change that we need at this very time in solving long-standing and complex problems facing our communities and world. Thank you, and once again, congratulations, and welcome to your new Carleton home.
Hello, everyone. After months of excitement, limbo, questions, hopes, and many videos and online communications, welcome to Carleton. We're so glad you're literally here. I'm confident it's going to be a term of tremendous growth and learning for each of us, and indeed for the whole college. We're being called upon in urgent ways this fall to uphold our duties to each other as individuals and to live up to our values as a residential liberal arts college. Because of the pandemic, the format and the external trappings of this new student week are unprecedented. But in terms of substance, we've still crafted a week that will connect you meaningfully to the college and to each other, and to help you feel at home here, to help you get ready to begin the work and the joy of your academic courses, to reinforce that much of your learning and growth at Carleton will also take place outside the classroom, and begin to immerse you in Carleton's culture and personality. First, a couple of observations aimed especially at the great class of 2024. We're honored that you chose to enroll here. Please know that your commitment to Carleton, exemplified by your physical presence, is calling forth an equally fierce dedication by our faculty and staff to teach and mentor every one of you in the most effective ways. We will challenge your intellectual capacities and energies as never before. This is good, because that's why you chose to come here in the first place, for academics lie at our core. Being challenged means that our professors will draw back the curtains on unimaginably new and inspiring intellectual vistas, and then help you step out into them. It means you will need to read more pages, to think harder about what's actually being said by the author and how it's being said, so as to critique those arguments at a higher level. We shall challenge your assumptions and even try to explode at least a few of your previously held notions into smithereens. This may sound scary, but it's actually liberating and empowering, because it's dangerous to have a closed mind that's not open to being proved wrong. We also want to give you practice talking honestly about and seeking greater understanding of issues that are often fault lines in society. We don't expect agreement on such matters, but it is important to recognize the value of such dialogue and cultivating your skill at such discourse. Indeed, learning to articulate, defend, and refine your beliefs in dialogue with others leads to better and more powerful reasoning. and more justifiable position. At Carleton, therefore, we will challenge you to learn to listen well. And we'll also ask you to write more, and then subject your writing, just like your spoken ideas, to tougher scrutiny than you've ever experienced. But while Carleton intentionally challenges you and pushes you further, we also provide you with multiple, spun steel strong layers of support and safety nets, so that when you inevitably stumble, and we all do, you're able to get back on track. We have academic advisors, healthcare professionals, mental health expertise for anxiety, depression, and other crises, disability services, academic support centers with experts to help you with writing and math skills, academic tutors in various subjects, gender and sexuality counseling and peer support, assistance for students facing family pressures, financial aid counselors, and even emergency grants if a family's circumstances change. We realize that your parents regard you as the most precious cargo in the world that they are now entrusting to the college. We're therefore committed to promoting the academic success, the physical and emotional health and safety, and the happiness of all Carleton students. A bit more on this theme of happiness and the outcomes of a Carleton education. We will help you identify fields of study and issues that seize your imagination and ignite your passions. And then we will help you channel those passions into brilliantly successful careers and lives of meaning and impact. One of Carleton's top priorities is to offer superior and distinctive career and life preparation for our students, premised on each individual's interests. We're a liberal arts college, not a job training institute, so we don't expect you to, or candidly even want you to, walk onto campus with a poured-in concrete career path. But we do feel a keen responsibility to see our graduates launched into the top professional and graduate schools and into great jobs. So we work with students right from the start of their first year to help them find academic areas or topics they care about, and which will, in due course, let you forge exciting and remunerative careers. The breadth of your liberal arts education will make you a more interesting and engaged person. You'll be a continually curious, self-taught individual. You'll know how much you don't yet know and always want to fill that void. And you'll be an engaged and respected citizen. This will arise in part from your learning at Carleton how to work as part of a team, solving problems jointly, sharing ideas, and sharing credit for success. And as good as you'll be at collaborating, at the same time you will be prepared to lead others. For we aspire that Carleton graduates step forward as powerful voices in public discourse, and that they will become brave and thoughtful elected officials and non-elected community and business leaders. I stress these twinned educational outcomes of brave leadership and engaged citizenship because both of them are needed to confront two interrelated crises the college and the United States face right now, namely, a reckoning with this nation's long-standing failure to achieve racial equity and the ravages of a pandemic. My brief observations today merely scratch the surface of issues that demand sustained attention, and I hope will be integral to your work and your learning at Carleton. This is a moment when, at an individual level, each of us must be willing and courageous enough to consider how racism and other forms of hatred and ignorance affect our lives and circumstances. We must identify and seek to rectify the blind spots from which we suffer, the prejudices we carry, and the unearned privileges from which many of us benefit. Likewise, at an institutional level, we must understand why, acknowledge, and correct for the fact that Carleton, like all institutions and like society as a whole, is infected by racism. We aspire and intend to be a truly supportive, learning, and work environment for all students. In order to achieve that goal, we must address underlying structures and assumptions that are inequitable and unjust. This year, students will have the opportunity to be part of an effort to develop a long-term plan for inclusion, diversity, and equity at our college. It will be exciting and difficult work. I hope you'll eagerly join in the dialogue and the change ahead. Likewise, confronting the COVID-19 pandemic, a pandemic that exacts a disproportionate toll on the poor and persons of color, requires that we recognize and embrace our duties to one another and hold each other accountable in these mutual bonds of respect. I want to start by reassuring everyone who's listening, students and parents and other family members, that we are going to provide the best possible residential liberal arts education that we safely can. Our planning has been very thorough, involving scores of faculty and staff and outside experts. We have a strong testing and tracing system in place, designed to catch symptoms and positive cases right away. We're confident that everyone will monitor their health and adhere to our community covenant. We're using robust metrics to help us assess how our plans are working or if we need to pivot. In the face of the challenges we're confronting together, I'll confidently venture that your liberal arts education here will be demanding, exciting, and fulfilling. This is just what you'd want, and no less than what you deserve and you need. Let me close by sharing our core promise to all of you. Carleton will give you the best undergraduate liberal arts education in the world, an education that will shape you forever. We'll help you grow into reflective, compassionate, and high-minded persons who will lead remarkable lives. And in June 2024, a little less than 4 years, which is going to seem like the blink of an eye, this class will graduate from Carleton feeling even better about their college choice than they do today. For 154 years now, a long maize and blue line of other Carls has been making possible a Carleton education for successive generations of students through their own generosity and their belief in this college. As you begin your time here, I hope you will also come to appreciate this kind of multi-generational commitment. For someday, after the college has fulfilled its promises to you and changed your life for the better, you will be part of a community that helps to provide these same opportunities to Carls for the next 154 years. Welcome to your alma mater and to your new academic home.
Good evening, and welcome Carleton Class of 2024. Welcome parents and families. Today marks the beginning of the new academic year, and most importantly, the beginning of your journey as a Carleton student. I'd like to say that it wasn't so long ago that I embarked on my own journey as a Carl, because I'm also a Carleton alum. But it was, in fact, a long time ago. Nonetheless, I know something of the anticipation you're feeling. Like probably most or all of you, I wondered what my roommate would be like. How would we get along? What would my classes be like? What would the professors be like? Like some of you, I was the first in my family to attend college. So I had lots of questions. I'm sure my parents did too. But I have to admit that though I'm sure during New Student Week a dean spoke to my class about what it means to be a Carleton student, I remember absolutely nothing of that event, or for that matter, any of the other orientation events. So I won't take it personally if in the future you can't recall what I say now, or even that I was speaking to you today. Despite that, there are a few things I'd like to tell you. Although graduation may seem far off now, the first thing you need to know as you start this journey is that your time here is short. You will have far more opportunities to take advantage of than you will have time to do so. You will, for example, only be able to take about 36 courses during your 4 years at Carleton. That probably sounds like a lot, It's about 9 courses each year. We offer about 1,000 courses each year. That means that out of every 110 plus courses we offer, you'll get to take only 1. And these courses cover a terrific range of fascinating subjects. You'll discover fascinating fields that you want to explore further, that you never knew you would love, or even that you thought about studying. There will be more courses that you'll want to take, both in your major and outside of it, than you'll have time to take. And that's just the beginning. There will be opportunities to work with faculty on research and, yes, to study off campus, opportunities to become engaged in the community, campus events to take advantage of, not to mention co-curricular activities and serendipitous encounters and time to just hang out. For now, with a mask and at a physical distance. Your time here will feel precious, and it will be precious. This is a time to explore new areas of study and engagement, take intellectual risks, grow, and to develop the mentorship and friendship relationships that will last a lifetime. And there are some 200 faculty who cannot wait to join you in this exploration. They each want you to choose their course, to share their passion. Carleton faculty, in their biennial reports to President Poskianzer and me, in conversation with each other and with colleagues elsewhere, say again and again that what makes teaching here at Carleton so rewarding is the students. And every fall, they look forward eagerly to welcoming the new class, getting to know you and accompanying you on this journey. And they are as excited at the start of this year as you are. Our faculty join me in welcoming you warmly and look forward to the 4 years ahead.
Class of 2024, let me officially welcome you on behalf of the Division of Student Life. I am Carolyn Livingston, Vice President for Student Life and Dean of Students here at Carleton. I'm also known as the person who sent you a lot of emails these past few months regarding pandemic planning. Today is a milestone in your life, a milestone that you share with nearly 500 of your peers. You finally made it to Carleton, whether you're here physically on campus or you're studying remote. You traveled from Singapore, Washington State, Spain, and Canada to attend Carleton. We're glad you're here. To our families from the South who've been devastated by hurricanes, welcome. And we hope you and your families continue to be well. For our dreamers, we continue to support you and welcome you to our community. You are always Carls. In the upcoming weeks, our students will share with each other what they value about their time at Carleton. This is my 6th year, and I'll share with you what I value: the ARB, the Japanese garden, and attending comps presentations. I also value a friendly Frisbee toss or 2. Each year, I always try to seek some advice as to what I should say during this intro. And I always turn to my wise, now 7th grader, who has some advice this year. Last year, he didn't have any. He was going to 6th grade. Everything was completely new. But he has some confidence going into this year. And his advice was really simple. Just do it. Mask up and do it. So let me pause and let's play a quick game. I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to give you permission to pull out your phones and email me. The first 5 of you to email me your response, the right answer, we'll do a physically distanced lunch or dinner with 4 of your closest friends. Okay, here's the question. Is yawning contagious? Is yawning contagious? First 5 of you, send me an email with your response. And don't worry about my inbox, okay? I'm a huge sci-fi fan. And like my son, I try to look at things that will give me some advice to share with you. And so, using some of the characters from the Marvel DC universe, here's some advice that I'd share with you going into your first year and throughout your time at Carleton. Dr. Octopus said, "Intelligence is a privilege, and it needs to be used for the greater good of people. Use your intelligence wisely." Superman, who said, "You're much stronger than you think you are. Trust me." And one of my favorites, who I'm glad was brought to the movie theater screen, was Wonder Woman, who said, "Because no matter how small an act of kindness or generosity or simple positivity you put out into the world, it will make a difference." We lost a great character in the Marvel DC universe this week, Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman. And there were some quotes from the Black Panther movie that I think would completely resonate with you as first years. You get to decide what kind of king you are going to be. We all know the truth. More connects us than separates us. But in times of crisis, the wise build bridges, while the foolish build barriers. We must find a way to look after one another as if we were one single tribe. And then my last quote from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. One of my favorite everyday characters is Mr. Rogers. I grew up watching Mr. Rogers. And one of the things that he was famous for saying was there are 3 ways to ultimate success. The first way is to be kind. The second way is to be kind. And the third way is to be kind. Kindness matters. Respect matters. And as we're dealing with unprecedented challenges in our community, in our country, and in our world, kindness matters. Now let me thank the staff that have been truly indeed critical in the planning for New Student Week. A special thanks to the Student Activities Office, Lee Clark, Miko Taylor, and Hannah Debo. And to our fearless New Student Week leaders, Angel Hayes and Ava Aroldi. Angel is from New Orleans and Ava is from Washington State. Within the Division of Student Life, we have class deans. We have a variety of offices who will all be instrumental in supporting and helping you to navigate this place. Please, please, please let us help you. Now let's pause for the second question. And remember the rules. Email me a response. The first 5 of you will have dinner, physically distanced dinner. This time, we're gonna do Thai food, okay? My second question, is magenta a color? Is magenta a color? Think about that. Let me take a few minutes to introduce the peer leaders who you will see throughout your first year at Carleton and who will assist you in your transition. Career Center Associates. They will help you solve the questions your family will ask you next. What are you doing after Carleton? This group will ensure that you know about internships and externships, mock interviews, and life after Carleton. They are the Career Center Associates. The TRIP CE Fellows, the Center for Civic and Community Engagement. 84% of you said you were involved in service prior to Carleton. We expect you to continue that service. TRIP CE Fellows will motivate you to do so. The Gender and Sexuality Center. Carleton's committed to a welcoming and affirming people of all gender identities, including cis, trans, gender normative, and gender creative. GSCAs will help us do so. TRIO Student Support Services. They are the dream. They remind us that first generation low income and disabled students can still live the dream here at Carleton. OIL, our Office of Intercultural and International Life. Diversity and inclusion matters at Carleton. Our peer leaders are here to be the change agents that provide leadership on diversity and inclusion on our campus. Our SWAs, our student wellness advocates, they empower their peers to make healthy decisions and lead balanced lives when it comes to sexual health, mental health, substance abuse, and physical health and fitness. Then we have our Student Activities Programming Board and the Program Assistants. They're the heart and soul of programming. And this year is going to be a challenging year for them as they think about how to program during this midst of pandemic planning. And then we have Disability Service Associates who remind us that disabilities come in many shapes and forms. Sustainability Associates. Sustainability is really a big deal at Carleton, and we've developed a culture of environmental awareness, responsibility, and action, and a strong desire to make Carleton and our world a better place. The Chaplains Associates. They are attentive to the religious and the spiritual and the ethical needs of the campus. They are supportive of religious diversity without compromising their own convictions. And then these folks have greeted you when you moved in here earlier today, our New Student Week leaders. They have planned every aspect of this New Student Week experience for the class of 2024. So about 80 of them you have seen throughout the day, and we really want to thank them for their leadership and their service. And finally, residential life, to our RAs who have helped us to understand, who will continue to help us to understand that being in a resident community is an amazing way to live and learn. Class of 2024, if there's one message that I will leave you with, is that there's so much help here at Carleton, and we really, really, really encourage you to take advantage of all of the resources and the support that is here for you. And finally, I will say that this has been an extraordinarily unique time for your parents and your families, many of them who have not been able to share in this full experience with you. They were not able to move you into your residence halls. Some of them had to give a quick hug and a bye. Some of them had to place you on a plane for you to make the trek here to Carleton. And so we should thank them. And what I encourage you to do sometime throughout this year is just send them a note and say, thank you for this moment. And I hope you'll take the time to do that. Many of our parents, our siblings, our families have supported us long before we knew what the various forms of support were. And finally, let me introduce you to Andrew Farias. Andrew Farias is our Carleton Student Association, our student body president. Andrew is a senior environmental studies major from Houston, Texas. And Andrew will share with you the many ways you may elect to get involved on our campus during your 4 years as a Carl. We'll also share with you what's going on with students on campus as well. Be well, Carls. Physical distance, mask up, and wash your hands. And let's have an amazing school year.
Howdy y'all, and welcome to Carleton College. My name is Andrew Farias. I use he and his pronouns, and I am your student body president. I would first like to take a moment to acknowledge that Carleton College is located on the homelands of the Wapakute Band of the Dakota Nation. We honor with gratitude the people who have stewarded the land throughout the generations and their ongoing contributions to this region. We further acknowledge the ongoing injustices that we have committed against the Dakota Nation, and we wish to interrupt this legacy, beginning with acts of healing and honest storytelling about this place. As you all begin your journey at Carleton College, I encourage you to learn about the history of the land and remember it over the course of the next few years. In class of 2024, I have no doubt that embarking on your first step towards your college education was lengthy and at times seemed impossible to achieve. But each of you ultimately succeeded. You made sacrifices in order to volunteer your time in your communities, to be leaders in your schools, and perhaps to care for your families, all while dedicating countless hours to your academic studies. At the same time, it is important to recognize your families and supporters who have been there for you throughout your lifetime. Without these individuals, your hard work, and dedication, none of this would be possible. So, congratulations to your class of 2024 on being here today. When I arrived on campus 3 years ago from Houston, Texas, it was a surreal experience to be walking through the doors of the Recreation Center to meet and engage with hundreds of my fellow Carls. And now, many of us will be walking through those same Recreation Center doors, but for an entirely different purpose. With that being said, it would be an understatement to say that this year is going to be different because we have all experienced the many waves of change COVID-19 has already brought. From Zoom class sessions to virtual graduation ceremonies, it is clear that nothing about this time is what any of us might have ever imagined. However, it is in times of uncertainty and change that we have had the most beautiful opportunities to make what John Lewis once called good trouble, to take responsibility for the changes we want to see in the world, and to spend some time educating ourselves on how to do it. Moreover, you have the glorious privilege to have those feelings and experiences during your remaining time at Carleton. And yet, not everyone's Carleton experience is an easy journey. For me personally, there have been moments when I have felt like an imposter, when I had to retake a class, when I couldn't afford to do the same activities as my peers, when those around me didn't look like me. When encountering problems like these, I found that there's no shame in seeking help and resources, whether that's from student health and counseling, a professor, or an academic tutor. And receiving that help has been incredibly heartwarming as I hurdled over barriers. It showed me that your identity should not hold you back, but rather be embraced. as I have had to learn over my 3 years here. I hope each of you find that regardless of any disabilities you may have, your socioeconomic level, immigration status, gender identity, sexual orientation, ethno-racial background, knowledge of the English language, or level of familiarity with higher education, you belong here. You may experience missteps and struggles, but you are always deserving of the space you occupy in the class of 2024. Lastly, here at Carleton, you will be surrounded by opportunities to get involved in the community through campus offices and a large array of student organizations. In getting involved in any of these groups, remember that you have the power to uplift others. In fact, I want to highlight some of the initiatives that my peers have already started. This year, as we all know, has seen more than a pandemic. It has also witnessed centuries of racism and white supremacy come to a head and highlighted the existing injustices faced by our Black peers and neighbors. While this time has certainly been difficult, I have had the privilege to see many Carls take action. This summer, various Black student organizations came together to form what is now known as the Ujamaa Collective, and to make demands that combat systemic, structural, and institutional anti-Black racism. I implore you all to get connected with them by checking out their social media pages and website, volunteering on their committees, and if you are able, donating to their causes. In conjunction with the Ujamaa Collective, should you want to be further involved in student activism and policies, I invite you all to apply to serve as a representative for the class of 2024, or to advocate on behalf of students on a college committee. No matter what you choose to do, I know that along your Carleton journey, you will be there for other Carls as they will be there for you. Last year's CSA president, Anesu, gave a quote from William Shakespeare to conclude his speech. I would be lying if I said I understood what it meant, so I'm just going to leave y'all with my favorite quote from Theodore Seuss' Ted Geisel, better known as Dr. Seuss. Today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. I wish y'all the best in your Carleton journey, and please take care. Congratulations again, class of 2024.